G'day to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. What I'd love to do today on this awesome, most spectacular Sydney winter's day is go through a book, and the book that I've selected for this episode is entitled Exactly What to Say: The Magic Words for Influence and Impact, a book that was published on the 26th of July 2017 by an author named Phil M. Jones. So the first key message to come from this book is where the author talks about the fact that words have power. The language you use can significantly influence how others perceive and respond to you. By carefully choosing your words can lead to much better outcomes in your conversations. The next key message that the author talks about is a very interesting point, where he says that we need to focus on mastering the magic words, what he terms magic words. And he goes on to say that certain phrases like, "I'm not sure if this is for you, but," or "What do you know about?" can actually help lower people's defenses and open up dialogue, making people much more receptive to your message. So I think what he's suggesting with these magic words or magic phrases is to use these things as a type of foreplay to just create the mood and get people to want to hear what you're going to say, by not being threatening and by making them feel a little bit better about themselves, where instead of being defensive, they can be cooperative and collaborative at the same time. We move on, and another point to come from this book is where the author talks about the importance of learning how to engage curiosity, to use phrases like, "How would you feel if," to spark curiosity and encourage others to visualize, to clearly visualize possibilities and options, which makes them much more likely to be receptive and to engage and potentially agree with your ideas. So it's not what you say, it's more about how you say it, how you frame it, the tone you use, and the opportunity you give to the other person to freely express themselves without being judged or made to feel as if what they may say may be used against them in some way, shape or form. One of the calls to action here from the author is that there is a need, an important need, in all marketing and advertising and influence to create a sense of urgency so that people feel, in a nice way, compelled to respond. And this can be invited by using phrases like "just imagine," or when would be a good time to? And what these do is these help people envision the benefits of acting right now, driving to quicker decisions. Something to ponder, something to think about. The author goes on to talk about how it's important to position yourself as not an opponent, but as a person being seen and held out as a helper. Language like, "I bet you're a bit like me," or "most people feel this way," helps build rapport and positions you and what you're saying as someone who understands and can assist, and somebody who's willing to collaborate, to cooperate, and to work with somebody to help them improve their position and their station in life. We also hear the author in this book talk about how we need to also empower people to decide, and the way you empower people to decide is that you give them a sense of control, such as by saying you're free to choose, or if you're open to it, makes them feel empowered, and as we mentioned before, it reduces any potential resistance and gives them the opportunity to dance with you, to work with you, as opposed to fighting against you. And the last point that the author makes in this book is where they say how practice is important. You need to internalize these phrases and make them habitual phrases, habitual language that you use all the time. And once it becomes internalized, once it becomes habitual, then it will also drive your personality, your frame of reference, how you think, how you talk, and it will be your new communication style. But as the author says, you need to practice these things, because these things you can't just make up and think about from time to time. It's got to be something that you've become really good at over time. So the effectiveness of these magic words, the effectiveness of these phrases, these magical phrases, naturally improve with practice and what the author talks about here, situational awareness. So we're called upon to tailor our approaches, to think about what we're saying, to prepare, to be ready, to have been rehearsed under pressure, under pressure conditions, just like footballers, just like sports people pressure themselves in practice. We too, as people, need to build our repertoire, our inventory of magical phrases and magical words, so that we can leverage those things when the situation requires. So we need to tailor our approaches to fit the person and the context in order to establish maximum impact. So hopefully this book and the lessons in this beautiful day has helped us learn some lessons which emphasise the strategic and important use of language and magical phrases to influence conversations and build stronger connections with the people that we love and the people we want to help and connect with. So thank you once again for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club, where we're enjoying this most perfect Sydney winter's day, and I look forward to coming to you again from another place and with another message of empowerment. Yassas, take care, and bye for now.